Lots of people in the General Assembly who claim to be conservative and will come to your Lincoln days and tell you about all the theoretical things that they will do, but then they go downstate and there's some shenanigans going on.
That's former Attorney General Curtis Hill, no stranger to controversy himself, now a candidate for governor 5 years after he faced groping accusations that ultimately led to Republicans nominating Todd Rokita for AG instead of Hill in 2020. Let's talk about it now with our panel as we bring in this week's guest. We have former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, 2016 vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel, along with former state lawmaker Mike Murphy and UIndy political science professor Dr. Laura Wilson. Laura, I'll start with you. Obviously, a lot of reaction this week to this Curtis Hill news, largely because of the controversy that he faced a few years back in his final 2 years as Attorney General.
Yeah, and I think there are many people, especially those certainly in government, that remember that. At the time before that harassment allegation and everything came out, he was seen as a rising star within the Republican Party. It's interesting that he's decided to run for governor because it's essentially becoming a crowded race between Eric Doden, Suzanne Crouch, Mike Braun. It'll be interesting to see where he positions himself, but in the clip we just saw, he sees himself as a very socially conservative candidate. And I think his goal, his hope is that his small base that he has, he's able to use that and that ideology to kind of leverage a campaign and a path forward for himself. So,
Mike, what does this do to the race for the Republican nomination? Does it hurt Mike Braun, as some have suggested it might?
I think it takes votes away from Mike Braun. I mean, Curtis Hill is not going to be the nominee.
But how many? That's the question.
But maybe
right?
10, 15, who knows? I have no idea. But, I mean, for Curtis Hill to stand there and claim that he's a legitimate candidate for governor is a joke. I mean, wasn't he the guy who stood up and said, I did not? No, that's somebody else. Never mind. Sorry. But the real twist in the governor's race
reference there
is coming in 2 weeks when Brad Chambers jumps in. He's going to announce in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm told that Kyle Hupfer, the state Republican chairman, will be resigning as state chairman and taking over the Brad Chambers campaign. That could be a powerful duo.
We could see a lot of things going on here in the coming weeks. Tony, how do you see Curtis Hill's campaign impacting the race for governor and this very crowded Republican primary?
Yeah, I think the key word there is crowded. And because it's crowded, you know, anything can happen. Curtis Hill, like Laura was saying, is a known true conservative, and he will make policies the centerpiece of his campaign. He'll focus more on those conservative issues than some of the others, I think, and that's my opinion. And he is, you know, off to a great start. We're leading the segment in talking about him, you know, whether it's for the allegations or his candidacy in general. He's traveling the state in this first week. He has support from local officials. He has support from grassroots conservative Republicans. He's going to have an impact on this race. He won't be able to raise the money that some of these folks will, Braun and Doden, and Chambers.
And does it maybe have that effect of hurting Braun, helping Crouch potentially?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think both. If you want to look at the who would line up in the most conservative side of those, you know, 4 or 5. You'd put Braun and Curtis in there, and I think Curtis takes votes from Braun.
So, Robin, what's your response to all this, and how do Democrats see this, given the controversies that Curtis Hill has faced here in recent years?
Well, first off, using a reference that Mike did earlier, in 1996, Frank O'Bannon ran. We didn't have any opposition. He was Evan Bayh's choice for governor. He got the endorsement. We ended up winning the election. They've got the cast of Ben-Hur running for governor right now. And the fact of the matter is that the guy to watch out for is Micah Beckwith, because he's running for lieutenant governor.
Right.
And he is going to be at a convention of conservatives that continue to produce nominees for their party. And I think who aligns with him and Donald Trump will be their nominee. And I would not rule out Curtis Hill at all.
We'll see what happens. All right, from the race to governor to Indiana's former governor now running for president. You saw our interview earlier with former VP Mike Pence, but he also made news in another interview this week, Laura, saying that he would support a nationwide ban on abortion, and even in instances where the pregnancy may not be viable, showing again just how these recent Supreme Court rulings continue to impact the political landscape and the policies that we see proposed and enacted across the country.
It was that statement that earned him the claim from Time, saying he's the most conservative candidate right now seeking the Republican presidential nomination. And I think that's something he would be proud of. I think it's true to who he is. Interestingly, DeSantis and Trump haven't made a comment on that, where they would stand. It would theoretically help Pence, even though he's very far behind, at least in terms of the Iowa primary.
But it would hurt him in a general election.
It would certainly hurt, and I don't know how you pivot from that. Of course, you got to win the primary to get to the general, so maybe that's that's a concern you don't worry about quite at this moment. But I think that claim is really important. It fits with everything he said. And more interestingly is that Trump and DeSantis haven't made a comment on it.
Yeah, and certainly it's an uphill climb in that primary, Mike, as Pence and DeSantis try and close that gap in the polls, way behind former President Trump in the Republican polls right now, with both trying to be that Trump alternative in the Republican primary, but they both have a long way to go. Pence telling me in that interview this week he still doesn't have enough small donors to qualify for the Republican debates next month.
No, there's a long way to go for everybody. I mean, Pence is the best organized candidate on the Republican side in Iowa. His statement this week is consistent with what he believes in. Whether you agree with him or not, he believes in it, and you have to respect that. But Trump has a long way to go. Jack Smith is insisting that the trial start in December. If that trial's going on during the campaign, I just about guarantee it, Trump will not be the nominee.
Of course, DeSantis, meantime, was here this week with a handful of state lawmakers and local Republicans. Former Speaker Brian Bosma was there as well. Tony, what do you make of DeSantis coming here more or less to Pence's backyard to raise money?
I think it's funny, and might as well. He's got a very close connection with State Representative Chris Jeter. They served in the Navy together. So
he helped put that event on.
Chris and I believe the Hamilton County Chair, Mario Masselmani.
Bob Grand, a big part of that too.
Bob, and then some legislators were there. You know, I think everybody's kind of testing the waters. There's this narrative out there that you can't win with Trump, yet Trump is consistently above 50% with primary voters. So I think you can win with Trump. Folks are going to flirt around with DeSantis. I think it hurts Pence. And if I was the Pence people, I'd be kind of ticked off about, the support that DeSantis is getting from some of their friends.
Yeah, Robin, how do you see this from across the aisle? We mentioned that DeSantis event this week. Indiana also getting a visit next week, we should mention, from Vice President Kamala Harris, who's scheduled to give a keynote address at Delta Sigma Theta's national convention. What do you make of everything we've seen this week here?
Well, Mike's right. I mean, at least Mike Pence is sticking with his guns and staying where he is. But for families that might be at Deaconess or Union or Parkview Hospital walking around at night that had to make a gut-wrenching decision about the future of their wife or their daughter, he's on the other side. He's on the wrong side on this issue. Even the most conservative things say protect the life of the mother. And I don't know where he's going on this. I think he's trying to outflank the far-right flank. But then you've got to come back to the general election, and that's where you lose moderates. That's where you lose the Philadelphia suburbs. That's where you lose things in other states that could be vital.
All right, a lot to discuss this week, no doubt. Our panel will be back coming up in just a few minutes. Also ahead, the latest on the race for mayor in Indianapolis. Plus, school districts won't be charging parents textbook fees this year. We'll look at the impact for parents and school districts around the state next.